G'day Hammerheads, welcome to Backyard, and today we're going to be taking a look at some Ozito. So here in Australia, this cheap red and black stuff is called Ozito, but in Europe they are marked as Einhell. And that's because Ozito was started here in Australia a while back as a really budget tool brand, very, very cheap, very affordable, not very good quality. Now that old stuff was frankly complete junk, but then Ozito got bought out by a German company, Einhell, and it looks like the quality improved a little bit. And now we have Ozito here and Einhell in Europe. They seem to be the exact same tools. So anyway, here is their old 20mm rotary hammer. It's the PXB RHS-200, so 220mm. And I have actually just bought the new version, which has come out here recently. So this is the PXB RHS 260. So 260, 26mm. So this is a 1-inch rotary hammer. Now in Australia, this is only sold at Bunnings. That's our big box hardware store. This one has been sold for $199. Now the new version, which is a much bigger tool, still $199. So if this thing turns out to be okay, that is going to be less than half of basically any other brand's 1-inch rotary hammer. So if you're going to buy a rotary hammer of this size from, say, Bosch, that's going to cost you probably more like 450 Australian dollars. This one's $199. So I'm expecting it to be pretty cheap and probably not that good, but that said, it actually looks, you know, pretty nice. So why don't we just crack her open and see how she goes. So firstly, the trick with all the budget stuff, keep the warranty. Make sure if you can register that, or you need your receipt from the store or whatever, if you expect it to break, keep the bloody warranty. So we have a little adapter so you can stick screwdriver bits in this giant drill. Little grease, that's nice. Always grease it. Somebody should make a video about that. It seems quite nicely designed anyway. The aesthetics are quite nice, but it does still seem cheaply made. I don't know what kind of plastic it is, but it has that really burnt sort of smell that you get from cheap plastic. It also doesn't have any of the markings of, polycarbonate, 30% glass fiber, any of that sort of stuff like what, say, Bosch does. So rubberized handle, rubberized body, some vibration control. That actually has a sort of hinge joint on it. Normally they're just a stiff sort of joint. It looks quite nicely designed, but cheaply made, I guess, at this stage. And compared to the old one, it is a fair bit bigger. Now I should say about this older one, I've had this for a few years, but there was some issue with the chuck where sometimes it just wouldn't hammer properly. So I never got around to taking it back to the store. I just, went and tested some other drill. But that's why I haven't had this one on the show yet before, because, it wasn't quite working properly sometimes, and I wanted to give it a fair showing. That said, if it doesn't work properly sometimes, maybe that's the information that you guys want. All right, and a little grease, I like that. So, okay, so the front handle has a few different positions. Quite a solid depth rod if you want one of those. It's kind of hard to explain, but just from, handling all grades of tools from Total Garbage up to Hilti, which is the best made, it just feels fairly cheaply made, even though the aesthetics, the design's really quite nice. And straight away I can tell this has a bit of a DIY-ish kind of feature, because listen to this. See how the speed is ramping up quite slowly? That seems like the kind of feature you would want for people who aren't using all these tools very often or aren't very experienced. Pro-grade tools do have that as an option sometimes that you can turn on or off for delicate jobs, but I've never seen one with that just as default. There's no other controls, you can't change it. I just go straight on the trigger. And it takes a couple of seconds to wind up to full speed. How about the old one? No, doesn't do it. So this guy is quite powerful for a sort of DIY grade tool as well. Maybe that's why they've done that. Either way, pretty nice idea. And I also got this new high performance battery for the bigger tool too. We'll see if that's actually worth it. All right, so let's get drilling. Now, because these are DIY grade kind of tools, I'm going to be starting off with some more common materials you might be drilling around your house. Should give you an idea of if you actually need a giant rotary hammer, or maybe just a regular hammer drill will do. But as recommended, I will grease the bit first. This is a 12mm drill bit. Just a bit on there. And of course, since these tools are loud, we've got earring protection, We got eye protection and also dust protection. It's in hammer drill mode. Okay, so this old one does seem a little bit janky. Again, that's why I never showed it on the channel before. So this stuff is really easy to drill. You do need to make sure if with a big drill like this, that it's not going to just blast through and wreck everything. Regular brick. Okay, so it got about halfway through before it broke. Okay, so the old one, once again, a little bit janky. When it fires, it works pretty well. It's just a little unreliable. But the new one felt perfectly fine, and you can see why it does slowly ramp up the speed, because with a lot of these kind of materials that you're going to be drilling around the house, you can damage them pretty easily. What's next? Okay, so next up is some concrete, and this is what I've been testing all my other drills with on this channel. And let's try with a regular battery. Wow, okay. So this was flashing dead when it was drilling. Okay, so the high performance battery definitely helped. This little one, it's only got the one row of cells. This has 2 rows of cells, so can give higher current. But it was actually flashing as if the battery was dead while it was drilling. So that means the voltage in this battery is dropping enough to trigger its kind of warning. But as we can see, it's not empty. So for a big tool like this, it seems like the high performance battery is, yeah, pretty important actually. Yeah, okay. So this one, it does have some intermittent hammer problems. All that tells us is maybe these aren't that reliable, so make sure you keep your receipt and keep your warranty. Anyway, I'm going to put that away now. Okay, so this new one is rated to 26 millimeters or an inch. So what does that mean? That means that the manufacturer reckons it can handle drilling holes up to that big every so often. With these rotary hammers, they're going to be working comfortably up to about 2/3 of that capacity. So what is that, 16 millimeters or so? But based on the impact force, so this is 2.6 joules, they say, and also like the motor power and a few other factors, they reckon that every so often it can handle this big. Although it says masonry, not concrete. Masonry is brick. Anyway, let's try concrete. I got the receipt and I apologize to my neighbors. And she did actually get through the concrete fine. That said, they say 26 millimeters in masonry. This is not masonry. This is a fair bit harder, but I can tell you now, yes, it did handle that, but no, it did not like it. You do not want to be doing that too much with this drill. I think, yeah, if you stick below maybe 16 millimeters, it's probably going to be a totally fine tool for drilling concrete around your house. If you do want to invest in some good drill bits, these are just very basic ones. If you want to get some good quality drill bits, that'll actually help the performance a bit. If you want to get the bigger battery, the high performance battery, that'll also help as well. That said, yeah, this does really feel like a DIY kind of tool. If you're only ever using a rotary hammer occasionally, it's probably going to be pretty good value for you, but there's still one more thing I want to try with it. So I'm just going to set it to hammer only mode and do some chipping. So this mode here is for, if you have a chisel, you can adjust the angle of it. I'm just going to leave this drill bit in here because that's basically a chisel as it is. Okay, so hammer only mode. So it's just hammering, it's not turning. And let's just finish this off. So if you're chipping, if you need to break up brick or something with it, I have an actual flat chisel. Oh, okay. Not too bad. So I guess for light chipping, it's going to be okay. Stripping tiles and so forth. Well, there you go, hammerheads. It's not a bad little tool, actually. If you're just looking to do occasional jobs around the house with something like this, it should be able to handle any of that sort of stuff fine. You know, chipping little tiles, breaking up the occasional brick, whatever. For something that costs half as much as a Bosch, it's actually not bad value. But as we saw with the old one that was slightly janky and a bit unreliable, make sure you keep your warranty certificates. Keep your warranty, keep your receipt, all of that. I mean, you should do that with all your power tools, but with these ones especially, they're kind of, you know, we call them single-use power tools around here. So you don't actually expect them to last that much. You know, it could even just be a case of if you're doing a remodel, it may last that one project that you're doing and then maybe it'll break. Couldn't tell you right now. If you don't want to take the risk on something cheap, don't forget you can always buy like a pro grade tool, do your project and then just sell them at a pawn shop or whatever, sell them on eBay afterwards. You might be able to get maybe a third of the price you paid originally if they're not too shot. But anyway, hammerheads, I guess that'll do us. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe because, you know, this was very cheap, but it still cost about a month of ad revenue from this channel. And the more subscribers I get, the more drills I can test, all of that business. So anyway, that'll do it for us. Thanks for watching, and I'll scratch you later.